Hello and welcome to BBC World News. President Trump is about to leave Saudi Arabia for Israel on the next and crucial stage of his Middle East tour. He'll meet Israeli and Palestinian leaders in his attempt to restart the region's peace process. Earlier, a speech by Mr. Trump accusing Iran of supporting terror prompted an angry response from Tehran. Well, the BBC's Yolande Knell is at Tel Aviv airport, where President Trump is due to arrive later. And Yolande, controversy even before Mr. Trump arrives from Mr. Netanyahu. What happened?
Well, there's a lot of concern among members of the Israeli cabinet about the deal that was struck in Saudi Arabia. There were some cabinet ministers who had threatened not to turn up here at the airport, but they've all been given an order that they must take part in the state ceremony. And you can see behind me that the red carpet is laid out. You've got American and Israeli flags fluttering here in the breeze. Israel's really trying to put on a very good show to welcome this VIP guest. It's going to be an historic flight that President Trump makes here, coming directly from Riyadh to Tel Aviv. Israel and Saudi Arabia are two countries that have no diplomatic relations, so this will be the first time that there has been a flight of this kind coming here directly. And of course, Mr. Trump is hoping that there will be more historic developments during his trip as he tries to revive the Middle East peace process.
Yolande, he's going to be facing an interesting quandary, isn't it? Because it has been noted that Mr. Netanyahu is possibly coming across as the more reluctant partner in discussions about the ultimate peace deal, whereas Mr. Abbas has very openly said he is open to peace talks.
Well, what Mr. Netanyahu has said consistently is that they would like peace talks to begin with the Palestinians with no preconditions. On the Palestinian side, it's very difficult for Mr. Abbas to agree to such a thing without something like a freeze on Israeli settlements in the West Bank. This is land that the Palestinians want for their future state. Settlements are seen as being illegal under international law, but Israel disagrees with that. And there had been a lot of hope within Mr. Netanyahu's right-wing coalition government that this would be a much more pro-Israeli president. They had thought that the messages from him when he was on the campaign trail saying that he would move the US embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, for example, therefore recognizing Jerusalem as the rightful capital of Israel, suggesting that he was broadly supportive of settlements. Well, there has been a rowing back on some of those sentiments. That has been a big relief to the Palestinian side as they start to hear him making the more kind of routine statements we've heard from American leaders. But on the Israeli side, it's causing concern, and it's affected Mr. Netanyahu personally because of his close relationship with Mr. Trump.
So many expectations from this visit, as you've already touched on. Any more on the location of the US embassy? Has this really dropped down his list of priorities now for Mr. Trump?
Yes, all the indications are at the moment that there will be no such announcement, which is a disappointment for the Israelis because this comes at a time just before they're about to celebrate what they see as the reunification of Jerusalem in the 1967 Middle East War. So 50 years ago on the Palestinian side, this is an event that will be commiserated. But still, Mr. Trump really does have a lot to achieve. He's here for a very brief time, just over one day, but he's hoping to achieve a lot while he's here.
A room with a view. From his luxury hotel suite, the US president will look out on a holy city at the heart of a decades-old conflict. Here, he'll head to one of the world's most important churches and take his family to this sacred Jewish site, the Western Wall.
But Donald Trump isn't just stopping over in Jerusalem for a sightseeing tour. The businessman turned politician is coming in pursuit of what he calls the ultimate deal, to bring peace between Israel and the Palestinians.
Israel's Prime Minister and his wife were early visitors to the Trump White House. And this month, the Palestinian president came over.
I've always heard that perhaps the toughest deal to make is the deal between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Let's see if we can prove them wrong.
An American Israeli led the local election campaign for Mr. Trump.
The relationship with Israel has been repaired. I mean, again, 8 years of Obama, the American-Israel relationship was described as putting daylight between the United States and Israel. I mean, there's no daylight anymore. We're together as we should be.
But what will the president say about settlements like this one, where Mr. Zell lives? They're seen as illegal under international law, but Israel disagrees. In Ramallah, Palestinians want Mr. Trump to show commitment to the idea of creating a Palestinian state.
To move forward in a two-state solution, it starts with recognizing the state of Palestine and getting the boot of occupation off of our neck. That's something the U.S. could pressure Israel into doing if they would be serious about holding Israel accountable.
There's official optimism here about President Trump's visit. But on both sides, there's also doubt about whether his unconventional, business-like approach can achieve a peace deal, where so many others have failed. Yolande Knell, BBC News, Jerusalem.